Hello players and welcome to our Tuesday night locals. My name is Andrew and I thank you for watching. Today we have Luke, who's playing on the right side with Fire Kings, versus me with my Vanquish Soul Synchro pile, which I wanted to try to play something different, but I didn't have time to put anything together, so definitely incomplete. So Luke definitely makes a very short work with me on these games, but I try my best to put up a fight. So, looking into it, this is now, I believe, yeah, this is after the ban list is in full effect. This is our first time playing with the ban list, so no Barone, no Omni Negates now, and no Link Karibo. So I was actually very curious to see exactly how Fire Kings play now that Link Karibo's gone. And I gotta say, they still make a pretty good board. No Link Karibo, no Barone Negate, but pretty strong that they can just still run so many hand traps and just plus. I think as I was talking with a couple of people, I think it's mostly negate the ash, and if they don't have the bonfire, you can kind of go and win, but we'll see. So I won the die roll. I go first, and I thought I opened up pretty good. Unfortunately, I believe here that a special Fenrir and effective Fenrir to search for a fire, and I switched up my deck quite a bit, so now it's more of Vanquish Souls with some synchros more than anything else. So I end up searching up the Rise Heart to keep a fire in my hand to keep Vanquish Souls alive, and unfortunately, after doing so, I am met with probably the strongest hand trap that's good against me, the Droll, which immediately stops everything else that I had in my hand, which is I believe I had the Horus package as well, which now I can't activate anything else. So I'm thinking here because I drew the. Now I pick up the Ash there because I was like, oh, normally I'd summon Ash and then a Barone negate and pass, but that's no longer an option. So I was like, well, maybe I can. I was thinking of normal summoning because I had the level 1 Synchron to make a Barone and maybe just rip one from his hand, but getting rid of a Fenrir for that just isn't really worth it. And I apologize about the glare. I didn't notice that we were right under a light the first time, so I do summon the Rock, the Vanquisher, to try to maybe build up something later. So I add back from the graveyard, and I think after that I just have to pass. So thinking maybe I can at least block, search a spell and trap, have a Fenrir, I have an Ash, maybe it'd be enough. A lot of maybes, but and here I think I'm debating if is it better to Ash it or Ash the Ash or Fenrir and banish it face down, but I decided to go for the Ash, and I think, yep, and I chain to special summon Mad Love to search for a spell and trap, and that way that makes it so they have to attack the Fenrir, which I didn't know. I think I was speaking with someone. I didn't realize that the Rock actually, you can only attack the highest monster if you control a Vanquish Soul monster. So I didn't know that until someone told me. So it was kind of fun. So you basically need to always have a monster on board. He hits the one thing, or he had, I guess not even the one thing, 3 of the wanted spell, which I think Konami should have hit, but everyone was so sure that that was the card that was going to be hit, that was going to be touched, was the wanted package. I mean, it's just so powerful. And this was also after, though, I believe it was a YCS in Raleigh, and everyone was still seeing Fire Kings everywhere, and um, still obviously topping and everything else too. So they're still very, very strong. So looking at it, I'm deciding whether or not I should, try to ban. I mean, he hasn't activated a monster effect yet, but if banishing the ash would be more beneficial or better, or just try to wait to see if he can commit to something. Um, and I believe here I'm assuming he was worried about the Fenrir. Thinking back playing, I think he wanted to potentially enter battle phase, swing over Fenrir, so that way he can not worry about being about anything being banished face down, or just making some damage. And I think he accidentally reads it wrong. He says, "Okay, so I can only attack the lowest monster," and I said, "No, you have to attack the highest." And that's where he kind of is like, "Oh, what was?" He hasn't, read rock. So looking at it, he realizes, "Oh, so I have to attack Fenrir first," which kind of opens up the game because he realizes now, "Oh, so." But then I told him, listening in, I tell him Dark can decrease a monster's attack by revealing a Dark. I didn't have a Dark in my hand, but I just told him, like, yep, and that's what Mad Love's able to do. I can make a monster lose 500 attack and defense by revealing a Dark. Or I can reveal a Dark in, I believe it's Earth, to bounce a monster with the lowest defense back to the hand. So, so now that he's starting to build up here, I believe he sees the line. He has the field spell, Poplar's effect, and with no other hand traps or a Fenrir that he needs to worry about. So I wasn't exactly sure where to hit it. I figured maybe hit Poplar, so, banish your face down, but, he had the other one, so um, he's kind of able to just pop off here. Not knowing, I guess, the lines of Snake Eyes, and when I had the Fenrir, had no idea what to actually hit, what's important to stop, the field spell. I think later on I kind of realized that it's the big Snake Eye Dragon guy. That's the one you typically need to worry about because it gets you so much plussing. And then activating the Snake Eye to special summon, which this next card that he brings out is always, I think, is just really cracked too. Especially, it's easy to stop if you run a lot of hand traps, effect veilers, Bell, and all that too. But summons the Oak, and with nothing else that I have in my hand to stop, I mean, even if I had a dark, which I don't, to decrease, I don't think he minded. I think he's just, oh, okay, that's fine. I can just kind of go off pretty easily now, and comfortably and confidently. So as long as he doesn't mess up the line, he has it locked in. But it's interesting to see. Now, if I know the glare is there and kind of tough to see, but this is the new replacement for Link Karibo, which is the Anima. Everyone's just on Anima now, which is so good. Still just need a level 1. That's all you need. So and then here is actually a card that a lot of people were discussing as well that they think needs to get hit, which I mean I could see why. It's always been so good even on release, but he decides to start link climbing in here, so he links into the SP little, not SP, oh my god, IP Masquerade, SP, IP, all the Ps. But he starts to link climb a little bit into just the end game, which Snake Eyes are able to easily do. Super, super interesting, actually. I was actually really impressed. I was like, I didn't think of using it that way. Promethean Princess, obviously special summoning back the big dragon. I think he was kind of making more just damage on board. But I didn't realize that the Prometheus is when your opponent special summons a monster, it can just special summon itself by popping. I didn't realize that looking into making the next card that he's going to do later on down this combo. But Z Atlantis, which special summons monsters to, my side of the board. And because that's me special summoning, I mean, he's able to just bring back the princess as well, which is a very interesting line that even I didn't think of. Or I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. So he links into the Salaman Great, which that card as well is just a brutal beat stick. And then the one Z Atlantis, just by using that, banishes everything on the field, brings it all back face down. Pops both. And then I had to reread. I was like, I thought this only when I special summoned during his turn. But obviously, I mean, how often are you special summoning on your opponent's own turn during the main phase? So I kind of was just like, I had to reread it to verify. I was like, that's pretty interesting. And then here I just check my hand, make sure I don't have a nib for all these summoning he's doing. And nib is just so powerful as well. But yeah, that's just enough to clear it up. Damage on board. And the deck, Vanquish Soul, at least the version I build, normally it shouldn't matter because in Vanquish Souls you're only maybe searching once and then just doing Vanquish Soul. But the build I play, the pile I'm playing, 60 card pile I play is just loses to hand traps, loses to droll. Not hand traps specifically, but just more droll than anything else. And nib. If I don't do a negate and I try to do something fancy and they have a nib, it's just so brutal. However, talking with some of the other players around there, Ghost Ogre is showing a lot of play now ever since the Tenpai got released. Just pop the field spell, they can't play, they lose their battle phase. And since that's now a card that everyone's just at my locals is going to be running and putting in, anytime I activate King Sarcophagus, it's just a free, well, neg, because I have to activate, if I open up the MSETI, pitch the MSETI, search King Sarcophagus, and then play King Sarcophagus, and then pitch to pitch another card, they just ogre it, and I neg so much. And it's happened to me now against a couple of the players so often, and it's just so frustrating and so good. Um, but looking at it now, it's kind of in my mind. Looking, if you don't have a negate beforehand, you're definitely going to want to make one, at least a monster negate, before activating in the Sark, Gold Sarks, or any of your spells that you really need to play. So, but yeah, on to game two. We're siding in, siding out, and I'm realizing the deck that I built, I'm missing so many cards. I really tried my best to build. I think it was Centurion Synchro pile, um, and I was trying to quickly get that built, but I just didn't have time. And the new support for Centurions is just so fun. It's so nice. It makes calamities in standby. It's able to make calamities in standby now pretty easily. The Horus package. It's just a lot of fun. That's the deck I'm probably going to be playing. There is a regional coming up in I believe Iowa that I'm going to be hitting on May 11th. And that's what I'm going to bring because calamities is just free. It's just a lot of fun. To Calamity's Lock and just look at them go, oh yeah, I have nothing for that. You know, they have to open an imperm, and now also everyone is maining droplets as well. Again, like just Tenpai is so good for Tenpai format. The droplets during battle phase, you just stop them. They kind of go, oh okay, you know. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I realize I'm missing a lot of cards, and I'm just like, oh my god, like I forgot to put this in. So I'm taking out, I side out everything that I'm missing to finish the combo lines, and I just try my best here, which I think in this instance goes pretty well. And there you see Luke. He's kind of looking into the new Centurion Synchro that they came out with, which is so good. It makes the other Centurion spell and traps so much better, in my opinion, because you're able to search them now. Like the other one, the counter trap, I'm really debating on running that one as well. And the new spell that just places that, not new, but the old spell, like nobody was running the spell or trap because you have to hard draw it. There's no way to really get to it. But now with the new support, the new synchro, yeah, you're able to just place it and dump them with the new Centurion spell as well. It's pretty nice. So on here, I decided to go first again. I think I open up a little bit better, but I believe I still, man, I can't remember if I get drolled again here or not, but I'm pretty confident that I do. Um, but in this case, I think I'm in a better situation than I was before, so I. Now in this build, I also have you don't see it much, but I do the parallel exceed to make in the corridor, the Nemesis corridor, to make Thunder Dragon. And here I'm really debating, like, okay, like just normal summon, do I do that, but effect to search with Raisin, and then I'm like, now I can overlay these both and make the the XYZ fire that searches a pyro, which adds you, of course, the Nemesis flag and then corridor. But I met with the droll, and there I am reading it, going, does it search or just special? No, it searches it. So droll is just kind of useless. So I searched the Borger. I know it's kind of tough to see again with the glare. And I think with the cards I had in my hand, obviously Borger, you reveal a dark to draw. I don't believe. I think I had the dark as well. I think it was Mad Love. I drew all Vanquish Souls in my hand, but when you're met with the draw, so I link into the rock, and I believe I just go for the burn with Borger just to get a little damage on board, and 1500 is still a pretty good amount. And I add the Pantera back to my hand, obviously. So now, most of the time, you typically want a Borger to draw. Hopefully get another hand trap. But I was thinking maybe if I can hold on to the just burn for another 15 again, I'd be okay. But also just kind of holding on to it and seeing what my options are is always good too. So um, here he normals Ash, and I'm debating whether or not to kind of just negate it. I do have an Ash, but I was like, I think that's the only good option, and hopefully he doesn't have a follow up. So unfortunately, the rest of his hand was a little bit of not a brick, but nothing that he can continue on, and knowing that I can just burn for 15 and attack his weak monster and just spam the field with Vanquish Souls, was enough that he decides to just kind of scoop it up and then go into game 3 with it. So I was actually very surprised. I was like, oh, okay, because that's all I had really. But another Raisin, another Mad Love. I mean, with no follow up on his end, it's just a small little weak Ash on the board was enough to just kind of kill. But so that one went fairly fast. Unfortunately for me, fortunately for him, game 3 he opens up pretty damn good as well. So it's pretty interesting. But I try to give it my all in this game, so we'll see how much of a problem I make it for him. But it still is pretty interesting to see how well the deck, the Fire King, wow, Snake Eyes deck works. Um, and just interesting to see how good it still is, even with the not as consistent. I mean, Link Karibo being gone and everything else, you really got to watch out for the anima columns now, which everyone has now been realizing. Oh yeah, you can't just summon it underneath the extra monster zone. Everyone is just running the anima, like I said before. But still interesting to see some of the lines and some of the combos. So um, I think. I think as I was speaking with a couple of the other local players who are they go to bigger events and bigger regionals, they say yeah it's still really strong. Most meta decks survive at least a ban list. I mean they get hit a little, and then the next one after is just a huge axe that drops on them, and then they're just kind of dead, moving on to the next big thing. Which with the new set that came out, everyone's saying that the next big thing would be like Ubel is really really powerful. Tempai for going second, just side in a few cards and you just have an instant win there in the battle phase. I still don't know if going second decks are good. I mean, they've always been my favorite. I always love going second, just making big boards and attacking, but it's just so easily stopped, with so many negates and everything else. I personally think that just running solemns again, strikes, judgments, I personally think that they're just really good going first now, since they kind of nerfed and nuked a lot of the floodgates. Rivalries, Summon Limit even got hit, and just seeing everyone pivot from Summon Limit to I think it's the Terminal Field Spell, where whoever summons 3 times, it's the end of the turn. That one's pretty interesting as well, and it's just kind of fun. But seeing how if Snake Eyes gets hit, what's the next best deck, and Voiceless Voice is super strong. Bell is super fun. Like it's so good, and just that Super Poly is so strong. Like if Bell became the top meta deck that everyone transitions to, it'll definitely like Super Poly is just definitely gonna get hit for sure. Like Super Poly is so good, and no longer having any Omni negates is just so powerful. So on here, Luke goes first, so we'll see what kind of board he makes. I think I draw a Karikura, if I say that name correctly, which is like if your opponent activates monster effects on the field, tribute them. But I started thinking, I don't believe a lot of the Snake Eyes, activate a lot of their monster effects like for no reason. You have to do something. Um, so it was kind of like I'm like I wonder if I can have enough to bait him to activate enough, and I can just trip them all away. Um, but it was an interesting. I loved Kurikara when it came out. Like the prospect of it is so interesting to me. So I was like, maybe I can make enough damage or enough monsters on the board. You don't see any of the. I don't think I drew any of the Horus stuff. He ashed me or drolled me game one when I searched. Couldn't do anything with the Horus, so it'd have been fun to actually play the Horus package. But hand trap format is still a thing. So looking at it, I think in this I had one hand trap for him, which the the Snake Eyes Dragon, the big guy, is so powerful. I use my one hand trap, the bell on that, and I think he doesn't have a follow up. I think he just kind of passes with just the IP. I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, it's pretty good. I think I can get around this. I just have to bait the one, but I didn't realize how silly of me, but how realizing how strong the deck still is with just the board that he currently has. Um, and then I do just this. It hurts, and I realize now you just not only do you have to respect Nib now, but you have just all hand traps. You kind of forget how some hand traps can absolutely shut you down. So I actually draw the Mseti and another Horus. So that's just with one Mseti and a Horus in your hand. That's just a free rank 8. But I guess you can say I get greedy. And man, I gotta say, Caleb, when he does this to me, it just makes him so happy. So I add the King Sark, and then I get a draw card. And this makes me want to just run 3 of the Horus field spells. So I'm asking when does the Snake Eyes activate and how. So I believe he says if you heard it, anytime you special. So I basically knew I had to make the special summon a good one, and So here I did draw, I did have droplet. So I figured I can force him with Raisin. So Raisin searches, and then Raisin's effect to return or no destroy any monster in this column. And I was gonna bait him to force his monster to special summon number one, and then also just get rid of IP. So he activates the special summon it on Res, and I think I should have chained it, but I think I'm met with an imperm anyway. So I don't. No, I'm not met with an imperm. I think I should have chained it to that, but I don't think I had another fire or no, a dark. I needed a dark in my hand to pop. I think it needs to reveal a fire and a dark monster. Um, so now that I do have it, I figured I'll just chain and then pop the IP. He'll have to chain it, and that's the line that I saw in my head. But I believe I met with something here, and I can't remember what it is. And then this is the other problem with Vanquish Souls. So because I have to reveal a different fire and a dark in my hand, he kind of gets the information that I have the Karikura. And most of the time, when you see something like that, you typically play around something like that. So. So I attempt to raise it, and I think the reason he didn't do this next, I think I'm met with an effect, some sort of negate. I believe it's an effect failure. Yep. So he effect failures it, but he still let me search. So it was kind of interesting. Like I'm like, oh, okay. So he negates it. I think I'm still okay. Like he used a hand trap. He's got like two left in hand. I couldn't bait out the IP. I'm trying to think in my head, what can he make? What's a rank 3? I figured maybe it was a Promethean princess that he could make. So I decided to do the Vanquish Soul place first. He knows I have the Horus or the King Sark, so the Horus play. And I kind of play it. In my opinion, I realized. Well, he actually corrected me later on. So I special summon the Mad Love with the rock. So Mad Love's effects to search. Now the Vanquish Soul card that I really like, my buddy told me, Adam told me about it. He really likes it as well. Is the Book of Moon. So they actually have just a Book of Moon target. So this also would make him activate the SP so that he can link on my turn. And then I don't know if I liked this play too much. I could have left it alone because I had the Kurikura, but
Yeah, we'll do the IP.
so he does activate the IP because he doesn't want to lose his effect, and I'm thinking of like again here. I'm thinking what 3 could he be making that would cause a really bad. So I decided to chain. This is I think where I kind of misplay a little bit. I chain the droplet to negate the IP. And I'm thinking, good. Now that that's negated, he used an effect veiler. I mean, he doesn't have much hand traps left. I could just um, swing and beat down Book of Moons, his monster. I think I'm pretty comfortable, or not comfortable, at least confident that I'm like, yeah, we're good. We're all set. We got this. And then I triple checked because Droplet, I believe he reads here, Droplet negates the effect. Because if Karikura, I was curious, the reasoning is, the wording of Karikura is if your opponent activates a monster effect, tribute it and special summon this card. So I was wondering, like, is it still, since I negated it, can I still do it? And he said, yes, you can. So now this is where the pain comes. So I activate Sark, he ogres it, and man, I'm gonna just mute myself because I'm probably gonna cry right now. That hurt so badly. And I'm everything in my head, all the planning I had just shatters. I was like, I could have very well and easily just not. I just summoned two of them and just beat down. But no, I just start crying. I say this over and over again. I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have activated. There's no point in pitching a third Horus just out of greed. That's all it was. Could have just specialed them both back. So the only thing I can think of is to just end on, a Kurikura attack. Oh, yeah, it hurt a lot. But still, it was all fun. Now, and ever since this, I think that this night, I don't get on camera anymore. But the rest of the night, I was just getting ogred on my King Sark so many freaking times that now I specifically I'm just activating it. If there's nothing in the grave, I have to for. But if I have Horuses, I'm just summoning them. So I just swing. I'm like, I can't do anything else. No hands. I pitched everything. Nothing else. And here, very similar to game one, he just is able to climb and kill me. So a lot of fun watching. Hurts to watch me die. Target the shiny one. Whoa. Yeah, hang on. That's just like 3/4. None in hand. All I have to deal with is a rock special or add back. Fire. What do you do with a fire? You do nothing. And you have to activate into something. So in the draw phase, might as well go wanted. Sure. Activate DDG. Change. Big bonus, right? Hilarious. Popular one to put back. Deal Bell starts set.
is all during the drop. Sorry. Stand by main. Okay. So then you activate. Okay. Special. Now. No, I have 1, 2. Let's do rocks effect to add. Sure. Oh, we're targeting shiny flame. To special? To put the back row.
You have to use a beast or a fiend with chimera fusion. So if you have all illusions in your hand, you have to all. So I'm at the point where I want to put
You target this one?
Yep. Or not. Yeah, and Patchwork still too.
That's still fine. So it's just right there, search for every tournament. Maybe there is some other way that can show God. I'm just not aware of.
And Yellow Star?
But it probably requires also protected because the illusion knife or whatever. Maybe that's the thing. But that's something that very much allows you to block.
And chain 1 will go temple to special. Chain 2 little knight, target that flame.
Like 1 copy of Spirit Dude. And you can play like 3 Super Poly and then the 1 fucking fusion, 1 copy. You're gonna play 3 Super Poly and 1 in the extra dude.
Normal. I haven't normal. And then.
Yes, we know that.
Perfect.
Which, I mean, in a deck that's like so
counters, thing on charge.
because you're gonna have so many ones that doesn't matter.
Yep.
No, I have to attack the highest attack, which is IP.
I got a 1. Probably 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
Target's lead.
Yeah, I just.
Well, it's not target. It's on
Every time, like, I only had like 2 extra rounds, so I just had to wait for him to roll.
All top 5 decks, I think, right now, every single one of my plays.
Well, no, actually, I was never really ahead of him. I just.
Every single one of them. You have to you hit it with the ogre and it kills half the combo. You know, like you hit or you belch, or you hit pain or throw, fuck ogre, okay, well, I put it to stop the combo or prevented them from now making you attack them. You hit voiceless with it, you just try stop your search, you stop them pop or recycling or whatever.
You know,
Great with this 3 damage there. But like this shit, you could hit temple, you could hit
Yeah, well, it's, you know,
Chain little knight.
that's time.
and you're usually spell or you hit the
Like, there's like 3 or 4 days.
Then we'll go.
Oh, yeah!
It's just every single deck right now.
You pull that up.
I
saw someone play it, so
I couldn't find it online. You know, I can't synchro summon.
And then just watching it all happen and unfold again, just like game 1. I mean, it was very, very similar to game 1, but that basically wraps up the match, our first match of our Tuesday night locals. And it was very interesting to see how good, just the whole time in my head, I was thinking, Nib would be fantastic to run. It was another one as well. Nib Droplets was really good. I really want to main Droplets again. Just a lot of fun. And then DD Crows. I was just, oh man, DD Crows would be so clutch right now. So here he's just able to steal my own M-Seti and just go off. He makes basically the same board as he did before. Links into the Promethean. Princess makes a salad. Links that into the Zealand. Yep, and then just kills me. So thank you so much for watching. Next game, this is all Luke tonight. If you see the thumbnail, it's just his face over Poplar. So you're going to see him just continue on with the rampaging and just destroying of everyone. We do put up some good fights, and it's a lot of fun watching. Thanks, everyone.
Big game.
What is it?
Oh, there it was. Got it. Right on the nuts.
Fire game.
Yeah, I shouldn't have closed. I just kept it face up, just special everything. Yeah, that's what I was like.
I needed to make